Okay, we are on our last page of our newspaper this week. So this is the small sections that are typically along the bottom of the newspaper. So usually we have one section of Arizona that is highlighted, a character trait to talk about, a question of the week, and then I'll scroll over and you'll be able to see this section here on the animal that's highlighted this week. So we're going to start over here with Greenlee County. You can see in the picture here, this is a tiny, itty-bitty little county here in Arizona on the eastern border of our state. On the eastern border of our state, tucked away within the Apache National Forest, is Greenlee County with its county seat in Clifton. In Greenlee County, most of the people raise livestock, work for the Forest Service, or work at the Morenci Copper Mine. In fact, mining has been important to Greenlee County industry for more than 130 years. So for a long time, mining has been important in Greenlee County. You're going to see that pop up in your questions, so you're going to want to highlight that. The county is even named for an early miner, Mason Greenlee, who came to Arizona in 1871. Not to be confused with Mason Rogers, who came to room 408 in 2019. For several years, Clifton had no jail. Criminals were sentenced to working in the mines as punishment for their crimes. In 1878, town leaders decided to blast a jail out of the side of a mountain. They hired a man named Varela to do the work. When he finished building the two cells, a larger one for minor criminals and a smaller one for the really bad guys, he celebrated by firing his guns in a local dance hall. Unfortunately for Varela, the deputy sheriff of Greenlee County was also the owner of the dance hall. He arrested Varela and made him the first prisoner in the jail he had built. According to local stories, no one ever escaped from the jail, not even the man who built it. Man, that must have been a huge bummer to build a jail and then be the first one stuck in it. All right. I am going to skip over this section on responsibility just because I really think that that's something you should read with your parents. It's a good idea to read through that and talk about it with your parents. You won't see any questions about it on the questions at the end of the week, but definitely take a look at that with your parents and read through that. This week's question, how much of Arizona's foreign trade is with Mexico? So that word foreign there, foreign means not of the United States. So foreign countries would be countries that are not the United States, for us anyway. Okay, so we do a lot of trading with other countries, but how much of our trade is with Mexico? The short answer to that question is most of it. Here's a little bit more of the story. Arizona sends exports to 170 countries around the world. We're going to highlight that because that's an important fact there. That's a lot of countries that we send things out to. That means things that are made or produced in Arizona are sent out to 170 different countries around the world. But Mexico gets most of those exports. So we're going to see that pop up later. I'm going to highlight that in a different color just so that it shows up next to the other one. So Mexico gets most of those exports, followed by Canada. We send around $10 billion worth of goods and services to Mexico every year, and we import or bring in about $5 billion worth of goods and services from Mexico each year. So that's why they call it foreign trade, because we're sending things out to Mexico, but Mexico is also sending things in to us. Experts say that nearly 50,000 Arizona jobs are directly connected to Mexican exports. We also do lots of business with tourists from Mexico, about $1.5 billion worth of business each year. The experts also tell us that 10% of the tourism jobs in our state are created because of our friends from Mexico who visit Arizona as tourists. Remember, imports come in and exports go out. And last but not least, we have this creepy looking fellow over here, the ridge-nosed rattlesnake. Would you vote for a rattlesnake? Most people say that they'd have to know what office it's slithering for. This creature was campaigning for the office of Arizona State Reptile. We're going to highlight that right there, Arizona State Reptile. He had some pretty savvy competition, the closest being the Gila monster, which is about 14 inches long. When all the votes were counted, there were 9,456 for Mr. Rattlesnake and only 7,837 for Mr. Monster. Sorry, Gila. So the ridge-nosed rattlesnake is the Arizona state reptile. The ridge-nosed rattlesnake is a little snake, growing to be only about 18 to 21 inches long. Doesn't matter how little it is, it's still a snake, so I don't like it. It lives in the high country, 5,000 to 8,000 feet in elevation, and loves to eat lizards. If there are no lizards around, it will dine on centipedes, smaller snakes or mice, or fourth graders who don't do their homework. Just kidding. All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed reading, and I hope that this helps you to answer the questions when the time comes. See you guys soon.